Hello everyone, we're back with the lore dives and whatever you want to call what I do. Today's video is going to be on Vile Exhumed. Vile Exhumed is a game about digging through a computer from the 90s to figure out what kind of terrible secrets its owner has hidden within. This game was developed by Kara Cadaver of Final Girl Games and published by Dread XP, and was slated to be released for sale on Steam on July 22nd, 2025. However, as some of you may know, it was instead removed from Steam before it was even able to be released. However, you can get the game for free at vileisbanned.com. And while you're there, maybe check out that donation button if you want to show some support. 50% of profits will be donated to the Red Door Family Shelter, which is a Toronto-based charity that focuses on helping families, refugees, and women who are escaping violence. Now, regardless if it was removed due to the recent flood of censorship nonsense, or because it was a decision Steam would have made either way, I can say it was most certainly a mistake to do so. I've played through this game pretty darn thoroughly, and I have to say that there's nothing there that would call for it being banned for sale. Having said that, this is one of the most uncomfortable games I've played in a long time. I know that sounds like an odd way to compliment something, but I promise, it is a compliment. As a fan of horror, I enjoy media that scares me, that puts me on edge, that grosses me out, or horrifies me. Whether it's a psychological horror or stress sweat-inducing thriller, I'm down for it. However, I've found that there is one difference between most movies and games, and that's the realism bar. And I mean this based purely on visual aspects. A movie that uses real actors and practical effects will always get a much more visceral reaction out of me than any amount of polygons or CGI. And that's what Vile Exhumed has achieved. The use of FMV and practical effects greatly aided in the horrifying, uncomfortable feeling of finding out just what terrible secrets this computer holds. So now that you know all that, I'm gonna throw a content warning up on screen now. If you're just listening, go ahead and pause for a moment to look at that. If any of this makes you uncomfortable, feel free to dip out now. No shame, totally understandable. For those of you sticking around, let's go ahead and dive into Vile Exhumed. As I said in the intro, we'll be snooping through this computer. Our current goal is to just figure out what's on here. What kind of person does it belong to, and if there are any dirty little secrets? With that in mind, we'll check out the first file on the left that looks kind of interesting. dlove.exe, otherwise known as Dirty Love. Ah, the old-fashioned nudie girl website. Well, I think we can take a wild guess and say the owner of this computer is more than likely a dude. It's not an impossibility for women to visit these sites, but statistically speaking, it's a guy. Clicking on the enter button causes a pop-up to appear. Uh-oh, looks like the owner of this IP address has been banned. Interesting. That begs the question, just what did he do to become banned? It could be an innocent mistake, it could be something else. Right now, we have no way of knowing, so let's continue on. The cat document contains pictures of the developer's cats. Super cute, super awesome. We'll come back to this wholesome palate cleanser when we need a break from future developments. Heading over to candy.exe, we find that it is a website dedicated to the adult film actress Candy Corpse. Checking out the tapes, we can see that she stars in films that cater to the gorn genre of adult films. Candy and her two friends from school get lost on a camping trip and are being stalked by the bear bitch. The only way they come out alive is if they all come together. The first two are somewhat comical in their descriptions, however with the third one, RIP or head off, all levity disappears and is replaced by a much more disturbing summary. As I was saying, talk about psychological whiplash. This one slaps you right in the face with its themes of sexual assault and misogyny. Jeez, I think this PC has a virus or something. Uh-oh. Well, that was disturbing and certainly sets the tone for the rest of the game. You have been warned. Back on the Candy site, the updates and posts is where the hook lies. It's the bait to get us searching for more. But before getting into that, we can check out the user profile to find some information that will be useful in the future, such as his email address and birth date, as well as some additional information like the account creation date, the beginning letter of the password, and their favorite movie being RIP Her Head Off. That last bit speaks volumes as to what kind of person we may be dealing with here. Moving on to the update section, it seems that the forum has been locked as of December 22nd, 1999 due to rising aggression and the increased amounts of angry posting from the users. That's not completely unheard of, but what could have enraged these forum lurkers so much? Scrolling to the very bottom to see the first post gives us a clue. It seems the user Nameless Norm posted a video that depicted him, a fan, asking for a fun post photo with Candy, and then she flat out refused. And it looks like this video was simply taken down because it was eating too much of the moderator's bandwidth. Ah, dial-up, I do not miss you. Let's check out the post to see just what the users have been working themselves up over. Alright, the first couple of posts seem fine, usual fan stuff, nothing wrong here. Until you scroll down to Nameless Norm's post, which would have been the one to hold the video. Just look at that subject line. Jesus. He goes on to describe the encounter as such.
I met Candy. She was shopping in the village and I asked to take a photo with her. She said yes, but then changed her mind out of nowhere and walked away. I uploaded the video on a media page, but it's pretty crunchy looking.
If you're getting butthurt over someone not wanting to take a picture with you, then maybe you need to do some self-reflection, because this ain't it. The comments under this post aren't any better. They devolve into name-calling and shaming, with notable quotes like,
"Don't be a porn star if you don't want to be treated like one."
And then there's this one, last but not least, the post from Bogus Roger titled, How It Would Go.
If I met Candy and she said no to taking a picture with me after I've spent so much money on her videos and supported her, I'd teach her a lesson, and one way or another, I'd get what I've been paying for.
These so-called fans either don't understand or willingly choose not to care about things like boundaries, consent, bodily autonomy, and basic human respect. The list can go on, but to sum it up, Candy Corpse is not a person to them. She's an object to solely be used for their entertainment. Even the moderator is guilty of such a sentiment. While he hasn't been as crass as some of the posters, he too falls into that headspace of either not understanding or not respecting how consent works. However, there is some information here to be gathered. In this post it says that the users who frequent VNS have noticed that Candy hasn't been on since the week prior, which is quite unlike her. Further continuing down this particular line, the contact portion of the website has also been removed. The reason listed is Candy has decided to take an extended break due to personal commitments and private matters. It's pretty much a stock answer which doesn't really reveal too much, but it seems Candy has completely removed her presence from the online sphere, with only her previous movies being the remnants left of her existence here. However, the contact page does list down under at Voss.com as her management team, and the information does say to reach out to them if someone does need to contact her. I think that we really need to check out this guy's email, but I also think we should check out what this VNS actually is. VNS stands for Video Nasty Swap, the world's largest horror tape lending library and market. This looks like a site where users can swap horror tapes with each other via the mail, or buy them outright. It's crazy to think about giving out your real name and address to random people you met in a chat room, but hey, at least they did that because they wanted to, not because they had to, unlike what certain entities are pushing for in this day and age. Anyway, this is the website that was mentioned in the forums, and as we can see, it's a bit of a mixed bag, just like horror tends to be. Films like Haxan and the 1968 Night of the Living Dead, which is a classic that I watch every October, is mixed in with Candy Corpse's very own Gorn films. There isn't too much to see here right this moment, though I will point out that you can interact with the titles listed. You can both favorite them and request them. I don't believe you actually get anything out of requesting them, so let's go ahead and check out a couple more things before we take a crack at that email. We're going to skip over to User System to get a bit more information on the owner of this PC. It requires administration permission to view its contents, but that's easy enough to grant as it requires the 4-digit PIN we created when we first logged into the computer. Most of this information is benign, however, we can see that Sean... I'm just going to call him Sean G. Sean G is the name of this PC's owner. Garrigs. It's pronounced Garrigs. Next is the Message app, otherwise known as the Buddy List. Here we can see there are 3 listed under Friends, 1 under Coworkers, and 1 under Contacts. When looking through these messages, we can see that Sean hasn't really been active for some time. The messages from Dennis the Menace are dated a year ago and shed some light onto what kind of character Sean has and the type of people he surrounds himself with. As we saw on the forums, there is a healthy, or rather, unhealthy dose of misogyny that taints the views these people have. But in these messages, there is an interesting little tidbit that his friend reveals.
We miss you, man. I bet if you came back to the state for the weekend, nothing would come of it.
So now we know that Sean has moved from wherever this Dennis guy is. When you combine that with the comment under it, it's quite obvious this has something to do with a romantic partner or potential romantic partner. Sean's response is flippant.
You know I have girls here. I don't even think about her anymore.
Skipping past username 007 because it looks like it's just one of those scam bots, which Sean calls out at first, but funnily enough falls for it anyway. We take a look at where there's a Will 42. These messages start out with Will telling Sean that he got a call about Sean's special friend. This call was about Sean going over there. The rest of the messages allude to Will being a police officer and that he sent Sean the report this woman filed. He goes on to tell Sean that the police will be around his place in the morning and to get his story straight, along with the usual expected degeneracy Sean surrounds himself with.
You should have seen it. She made herself cry and everything. The pictures are wild. Kinda hot, too.
It's unclear if this Will guy believes this woman made the whole thing up and is lying, or if he believes whatever happened to her was deserved and is not a big deal. Either way, let's think about this for a second. Will is a police officer. He has given a police report filed against his friend to his friend. What the actual fuck, dude? Not only are you an asshole, but you're also a piss-poor cop. Although suffice it to say, he does seem the type to get into law enforcement for the wrong reasons. Anyway, Sean goes on to say that he was only at her place for 20 minutes, and that she freaked out whenever he kissed her, so he left. And then he claims that she probably just wants attention. I'm not saying there aren't women out there who abuse the law to get men in trouble. It has happened. It does happen. But on the flip side, there are also women who make these reports in good faith, only to have the system fail them as well. It's a shitty situation all around, but I'm willing to bet that this woman certainly has cause for her actions. As I've pointed out, there is a pattern of misogyny here. While these messages are the first instance of Sean's own words we've seen, we have seen the same trends throughout the sites he visits and the media he consumes. These are clear red flags. However, there's more to be gleaned from his computer. Perhaps we could find more information that will either redeem Sean or damn him further. Moving on to Mr. Accounting 8's messages, which are dated 2 weeks after the conversation with Will, it seems like Sean's been fired from his job. He asks his coworker why, whom responds in turn by asking, "Is it true that you did that to that woman?" Sean's response is pretty irate, like insanely irate actually. I get being mad about being asked about accusations, especially from someone you consider a friend, but telling them,
"You are a piece of shit, and I hope you're next to get fired wrongfully, you asshole. Fuck you,"
is a step past a normal response. The guy just asked you if it was true. He didn't actually accuse you of anything, my guy. Moving on, down in the contacts there is one listed as Molly the Dolly. To access it requires a password. In order to view these, please enter your system password. Memory test it. If you recall the previous user system screen, there was a line that said memory test with a series of characters after it. Bringing up our handy dandy in-game notepad, we can quickly copy this down so we don't have to memorize it. Unless you can memorize it, then congrats, you're built different. Or maybe I just have a bad memory. Both are probably true. Putting this code in unlocks the previously archived messages between Sean and Molly. And literally right off the bat, we can see that Molly is the woman everyone was talking about. And she most certainly was not looking for attention. In fact, her very first message here plainly states, "Sean, you need to stop contacting me. I will go to the police and tell them what you did to me." She goes on to elaborate on how she doesn't want to talk to Sean. She doesn't want to talk about what happened. She's only broken her rule of not talking to him just to tell him to fuck off for good. "Leave me alone. Haven't you had your fill? Haven't you taken enough from me? Never message me ever again, and if I ever see you around my house again, I will contact the police. I don't care that we went out a few times before it happened. I don't care that we went out on a date right before you. I am dead serious, Sean." This most certainly was not about Sean kissing her and her not liking it. No. There is far more implicated in these statements. I want to draw attention to the date these messages were sent. This was August the 1st, 1997. The conversation about the report she sent didn't happen until the 16th through the 17th of the same month. So that means she didn't file the report just because Sean kissed her and she freaked out. She filed it because he did something heinous to her. And even though she didn't want to talk about it, or to even think about it, she did warn him that if he came around again, she'd go straight to the police about it. Sean obviously did not heed her warning. He went back around to her house 2 weeks later and she followed through with her promise. Note his response here. First of all, he's ignoring her request not to contact her anymore. And yeah, he apologizes, but goes on to say how the worst part is how she thinks of him. That's the worst part, Sean. Not what you did, but how you were perceived? Bruh. And also, he keeps on messaging her.
"You enjoy spending time with me, right? I would never put you in that position again. I just thought it was hot. I thought you'd like it. I thought you wanted it."
Holy f***ing yikes, dude. Y'all want to go look at some cats again? look at that one with a little tongue. It's cute. Okay, let's get into this email account. So, it needs an email address, which we now have, and a password. Now, there is a hint for the password, but you just have to actually attempt to log in first to get it. The hint is Book the Head. This one's pretty easy to figure out if you've been thoroughly snooping. You can find it by opening candy.exe and checking out her tapes. So the movie you want to check out is Evil Head, and take a look at the summary. Candy and her friends stay in an old cabin during a camping trip where she accidentally reads some pages from the Book of Head, the Necronomicon. This is 100% a nod to Evil Dead, and I am totally here for it. After putting in that password, we now have access to the emails. There are quite a few here that contain a plethora of information to be gathered. The inbox isn't the only set of emails we can check out though. There is a trash bin. I think it's best if we skip around to the most relevant emails and go at it that way. So first we want to check out the Nameless Norm forum follow-up emails since this was the first hook we found. I think if we go bottom to top, we'll be seeing the oldest to the newest emails, so let's check out the bottommost email sent to Nameless Norm.
"I saw you met someone saying they were Candy. I have reason to believe this was not the real Candy. I think Candy would never mistreat someone like that. This is why I'm trying to locate the real Candy as well as this wannabe, and I fear you could be in real danger. The moderators may be involved in covering up for the imposters as they have already taken down the video you included in your post. I would like to see this video."
So it seems that Sean just cannot allow himself to believe his beloved Candy corpse would, in his mind, be disrespectful. And since her disappearance from the web, it seems it's driving him a little bonkers. So much to the point that he believes that she has, I don't know, been kidnapped or something. Let's take a look at that next email.
The real Candy? Man, what are you talking about?
Even nameless Norm can see Sean has a few screws loose. But most importantly, it includes the infamous video. Let's check it out, see for ourselves what all the hubbub is about.
Are you Candy Corpse?
Yeah. I don't usually get recognized.
No way. I can't believe I'm meeting you. You're like the coolest. I don't just like your videos, I swear. It's really cool that you come up with the ideas for them all. You really like horror too, right?
Yeah, yeah, I do. I think horror and sex go hand in hand, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I love your videos so much. They're so creative. You make some really cool lighting choices too. You're so talented and impressive. So anyways, can I get a picture? I've got this camera actually. It's 2 megapixels, so it's pretty good.
Oh, yeah. The lighting is all my manager, Andy, actually. He's great at that stuff. But yeah, we can get a quick picture if you'd like.
Great. Thank you so much. I have an idea for a fun pose. If you could just take your shirt off for a second.
What did you just say?
Or even just lift it up. It'll be funny. Come on.
Yeah, fuck this. I'm not taking my shirt off, man, and I'm not taking a picture with you anymore either.
Are you kidding me? Are you too good to take one picture? You said yourself no one ever stops you on the street. You're not even famous. You're stuck up.
So the video portion has been corrupted, but we still have the audio, and that audio was pretty revealing. So first let's address the most obvious part. This fun pose everyone was talking about was actually this Norm guy asking Candy to show her tits. Some might think, what's the big deal? She's shown more than that in her videos. The difference here is this is not one of her videos. This is just her normal everyday life. It's like some of these people forget that entertainment and real life are two separate things. Candy Corpse isn't Candy Corpse 24/7. Second of all is how consent works. The thing about consent is it can be revoked in the moment. It isn't a stamped contract that forbids revocation under penalty of law, especially when the terms agreed upon suddenly change. She agreed to take a picture with a fan. However, she was not aware this fan wanted a topless pose. Thus, she didn't actually consent to that anyway. This is just more proof that this Norm guy and all the ones who agreed with him are lost in the sauce. Like I said before, Candy isn't a real person to them. Moving on to the last follow-up email with nameless Norm.
I have watched the video and I can say with the most certainty that the woman in that video is not the real Candy.
This email continues on with some horrendous typos showing this guy was probably foaming at the mouth when he typed. He continues to allude to Candy being kidnapped and that he's not only working to track her down, but these fakes as well to keep the real Candy's name clear. He believes these fakes are trying to impersonate her and that's why she hasn't made any new videos, because her imposter is also her captor. My god, dude, you have fallen so far off the bizarro cliff. He has placed his idealized version of Candy so high up on a pedestal that when she does fall off of it, it's so devastating that he literally cannot accept it. Goats, do not put people on pedestals like that. No one could ever hope to live up to it, and you will be disappointed. Let's keep traveling down this rabbit hole of Sean's. Maybe I should have worded that differently. Oh well, let's keep going. This one is an email sent to Valerie77K.
We had clear plans to meet today at Rouge around 7 p.m. I got there early so we could meet inside to make sure you felt safe and weren't worried. You never showed up and I wanted to reach out and see if anything happened as I did not see you and meet you. It was very odd that you did not show up and I waited for a long time. From 6:30 p.m. to around 8 p.m. I was at the cafe reading.
I did not order anything though, so I am not sure if they would recognize me. Let me know if you were still interested in selling that tape.
So at first glance, this just looks like a run-of-the-mill email about buying a tape, but I mean, who words their emails or any other kind of text like this? Being extremely specific about times and what they did during those times and emphasizing this whole make you feel safe thing. I don't know. It feels super off, like it's staged. There's a couple other emails, one about Sean's Video Nasty account having a password reset, and a billing email from something called Storage Plus. There's also one sent to Brad to the Bone with the subject being Vile. That piques interest considering there's a password locked file with the same name on this computer. So let's see what it says.
Hey Brad, thanks for telling me about that sale on camcorders a few weeks ago. I ended up picking one up and started working on my own short movie. I am basically finished editing it, and when I tell you that you've never seen anything like it before, well, I mean it. I am already planning a sequel.
Considering what we know about Sean so far, this is more than a bit ominous. I don't like it one bit. And to back up this feeling, the email Brad sent back to Sean makes it even more unnerving. It seems these two have an affinity for the really fucked up stuff, which by reading this email, I believe transcends Gorn and goes straight into snuff.
This one might be real. Let me know if you want it.
Oh yeah, remember at the very beginning when we saw that pop-up from the Dirty Love site saying Sean's IP had been banned? Yeah, it looks like he sent them an email about it.
Hello, to whom it may concern, I think I was blocked from your site by accident. I have not violated any of the rules and I have not done anything wrong. I have never used your site to even message any of the girls on it. They're really hot, but they're not my type. I like looking, but never even use the Dirty Love messaging app, so how can I be blocked? I haven't done anything wrong. These girls use the site to be contacted by men, so what rules could even be set and broken? If they are using the site and putting photos up that show off their bodies like that, of course people are gonna message them asking for more. That's the point of the site. That being said, I have never used the Dirty Love messaging system to write any girls. Please fix this as soon as you can. Thanks.
Oh boy, where do I even start? Honestly, I think I can sum this up by saying he definitely messaged one of the girls. He wouldn't have been blocked if all he did was look at pictures. He's already been proven to downplay or even lie about things he's done regarding women, so I absolutely do not believe he is innocent. His over-explaining also kinda tells on himself. You wouldn't need to say all of this if it were just a mistake. He's getting defensive, which means he did something. We'll see if we can find out what that something is, but let's go ahead and view one more email in the inbox before we move on to check out what's in the trash bin. So this one is from Found Footage. It looks like the manager Casey is replying to an email from Sean who must have asked about Candy Corpse tapes. It mentions that the tapes are becoming pretty rare because no more are being made. Casey goes on to say that their boss is a huge collector of all sorts of rare videos and ends up selling the doubles on Video Nasty Swap. However, the boss did say that if he comes across any candy tapes, he'll have someone from the store message Sean and see if he's interested in privately buying them before listing them on VNS. So, it's not surprising that Sean would be looking for more Candy Corpse tapes, considering his obsession, but what's catching my attention here is where this is sent from. Found Footage VHS Shop and Rentals. I do believe this is the FFVR file we haven't yet to check out, so let's go do that real quick. So it looks like this site is just the place to get information on the actual brick and mortar store. It informs about new releases, rare finds, and games, and seems to not cater to any one particular thing. Like there are rated E titles here, along with movies called Skin Eating Sex Cult. And I see you, House Obscura. Nice Fatal Frame reference there. What I really want to draw attention to is the About Us section.
This is our assistant manager, Casey. She loves horror and all things weird and creepy. Her manager, the one typing this, didn't want to put a photo of himself up or women from all over the state would be camping outside the store, and we can't have that, can we, pal? We've been open for 8 months and lights are still on, so that's a win in our book. Come in and ask for Casey, Andy, or any of our other great employees.
Wait a minute. Andy? Isn't that name familiar? Where we heard that before?
Oh, yeah. The lighting is all my manager, Andy, actually.
Huh.
He's great at that stuff.
Yeah, okay, sure.
But,
Maybe
yeah,
two
we can
people
get a
share
quick
the same
picture if
name,
you'd like.
but oh. What's this at the bottom of the FFVR website? Found footage, video, and rentals, name, design, and related marks are trademarks of Down Under Talent and Entertainment Incorporated. You know where else we've seen that before? Yeah, Down Under is the email of Candy Corpse's management team. Also, I want to, just add this in. Casey plus Andy, Candy. Are y'all picking up what I'm putting down here? Ah, well, let's check out the trash bin. I think in this case, we'll just check out the emails in sequential order, though that doesn't necessarily mean that these are in order, considering they could have been thrown in the bin at any time. So keep that in mind. We have an email from Lana Dot, and it reads, Hiya. Yes, that's a great idea. I love to save money and make friends, and we live in the same area, so why not? Where should we meet? I'm blonde and will be wearing my pink jacket. Darn this cold weather. Lana. This looks like another one of those tape trading emails, so not really anything out of the ordinary here, so let's keep going. This one is to Amber9, and oh, oh my. I think we just found the reason Sean was blocked on Dirty Love.
Hi, Amber. I never do this, and I really hope you do not mind, but I saw you on Dirty Love and was astounded by your beauty. I was far too nervous to write you using the site's messaging system. I got my nerves up but noticed your page was gone. Were you feeling guilty about showing your face online? I think it's fine. I hope you don't mind, but I felt compelled to use the photos and other info I saved from your page to find your contact information. I just really wanted to say hi and chat and ask something. I wondered if I sent you some money, would you take some photos for me? I think the ones you had up were stunning, but have you ever played with knives in the bedroom? I think your perfect body would look even sexier covered in gashes and wounds that I could do whatever I wanted to. I think we live in the same city. Maybe we can meet up.
Sean, can you stop being a creep for like 5 minutes? Anyway, he wasn't lying by saying he never used the Dirty Love's messenger app to contact anyone. No, he instead went the extremely creepy route and found this woman's personal information to email her personal account. And I wish I could say his personal request is surprising, but it isn't, not considering the allegations Molly made against him, or the type of media he likes to consume, or the type of people he likes to interact with, or the fact that he's slipping further and further off the deep end. Nah, this is pretty much expected at this point, and I hate to tell ya, but it only gets worse from here. Alright, the next in line is from Andrea69, and it looks like it's just one of those hot girls in your area things. Nothing really notable here. However, the next one is from JV Appliances, and it is pretty interesting. It seems Sean was attempting to gain employment at a company that deals with fixing or installing appliances within their customers' homes. Now, since they have their employees go into these homes, they do background checks because their customers trust them. And Sean's background did not come up clean. It seems that report Molly filed on him has left a permanent mark on his record.
I know this was a long time ago and not even in the state of New York, but the reported incident is far beyond the behavior that is welcomed at our company.
That's a good call there, John, because Sean would definitely be a liability. And let me just add that we all know Sean chose this job because it would give him access to people's homes. Who knows what kind of heinous things he could get up there if he was given that kind of access. Well, I mean, we kind of know, but... Well, anyway. The next one up is actually more interesting than it looks on the outside. Remember the message I mentioned from user 007, which looked like it was just one of those chatbot things? Well, this is the free pics that were promised to be sent. It's not actually pictures, but there is a download link that will install something called Hot Pics. I know it's called Hot Pics, but it's just trust me, okay? This is a creepy video of a dark-haired woman peeking out from behind a wall or a doorway to the tune of what I believe are fox cries. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Once the video is done, it will close itself out and be replaced with Mary.exe, which is actually a small little point-and-click game based off of Bloody Mary. It was apparently a game that used to be available on itch.io from Final Girl Games. Pretty neat. I really enjoyed its inclusion. Getting back to the emails, we have a thread of them from and to the same email, so let's check those out. The first one is from Ellen Tape. Hi, Shoot the Dog. I'm not sure if you'll remember me since it was quite a few months ago, but I sent you that copy of Kill Daddy Kill from VNS. I remember you asking about my collection, and we got to talking about the Mass Murder series that you were missing 3. I have it in my collection and just came across another copy and wondered if you'd be interested in buying it. I saw online it's going for around 40, so I'd be happy to do 35. Let me know. Eleanor. So this is yet another email about tape buying. However, it seems Eleanor was the first to contact, so let's see where this leads. To Ellen Tape.
Hello, Eleanor. Yes, I remember chatting to you on VNS. Thanks for thinking of me. I would love to purchase Mass Murder 3 from you. I have 1, 2, and 4, but this one has been hard to find. I hope you don't mind, but I noticed on the video you sent last that your address is actually in my city. When this comes up, a lot of the time it's the same people you're buying and selling from on VNS. You know how it is. I suggest meeting and doing the sale in person to save us both shipping costs. What do you think? Also, for if we meet in person, what do you look like so I know who I'm meeting? Better safe than sorry, right?
Alright, so this is the third woman Sean has asked to meet up with to exchange or buy tapes from after meeting them on the VNS site. He's forming quite the pattern here. From Ellen Tape. Hi, Shoot the Dog 6. Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm broke, so if it'll save that extra cost, let's do it. Good thinking. Thanks a lot. So you know my name is Eleanor. Can I have your real name, by the way? I still just know your VNS username. I'm 5'4" with black hair, and my coat is a denim jacket with some patches on the back. You can recognize me because I'll have red boots on. Where were you thinking we should meet? Oh no. In a perfect world, this wouldn't be a problem, but unfortunately this is not a perfect world, and I feel like Eleanor is going to pay the highest price for this mistake. And here is the last email in the chain. To Ellen Tape.
Hi, Eleanor. That sounds good. I will keep an eye out for you. Are you familiar with Westwood Ave? There's a small cafe that has a door through the alley across from the video store. The cafe is called Bruges, and I usually pick that spot for buying and selling videos. Perhaps tomorrow might work for you. I hate to suggest a time this late, but I work until 6 p.m., so I'd be unable to meet you until closer to 8. Thanks. Shoot the Dog 6.
Okay, this one smells all kinda wrong. So we all noticed how he didn't give his name like she asked, nor did he even bother to describe what he might be wearing, much less what he looks like. And don't think I didn't catch that lie there, Sean. According to that rejection email, you don't have a job. So why are you making the time so late in the day? What exactly are you planning here? I think we can all surmise it's nothing good. Especially when you factor in the information we already know, plus a little supplementary material, like this email sent to Andrea69 where he says he likes women with dark hair and blue eyes, like Candy Corpse. This is also why he never got back in touch with Lana Dot. She isn't his type, but by Eleanor's description, she certainly is. I think now we should finally look into the Molly's Report email. This is the one where there's a will sent to Sean back in '97. It looks like Sean has already downloaded it, which means it's probably in that Molly file we've yet to crack into. There's a hint for the password to this file, which is her street. This, however, won't be available until you get another email from Where There's a Will, which was triggered by viewing the Molly chat logs. It's more of the same. I don't really think I need to reiterate what a piece of shit Will is, but he did give us the answer to the Her Street hint. It's Hedgeland. Once we type that in, we'll be given access to some pretty brutal stuff. Now when I say that, the imagery itself isn't the offensive part. It's what it alludes to. Even the video just shows a guy walking around a house, then pulling the covers off Molly. But it's what we can guess happened that makes it horrific. It's the before and after a terrible crime was committed. Sean is a terrible, awful, no good dude. I also want to note that the report that was filed, it's a restraining order, so Sean didn't even see any jail time for the shit he pulled. I don't blame Molly for not going to the police right away. Sometimes when something like this happens, it's such a shock to the system that you don't know what to do. Everyone reacts differently. I mean, just admitting something like this happened to you is more than some people can bear. It's, in a way, easier to just move on and not think about it. In that moment, you aren't thinking about how your assailant deserves punishment for what they did. You're thinking, I wish this never happened to me. This is why victim blaming isn't the way to go. You won't truly know how you would react unless you're in that situation, which I hope will forever remain only in the realm of speculation for all of you. Jeez, I told y'all this was gonna get heavy. Here's some more cute pictures. And funny, courtesy of my Discord. Thanks, y'all. So as of now, there's only a couple more things left to check out. The first of which is going to be para.exe. So looking at this, we need to solve the personalized encryption. Take a look at these stars. Do they look familiar? They should, because they look just like the ones you can click on to favorite movies at the VNS website. There are 3 of them, and there are 3 Candy Corpse movies. Sean's Obsession. With each one you favorite, a piece of the encryption will be revealed, which when shown completely is imbalance. Type that in and you now have access to whatever is being stored in this privacy-minded executable. The first thing on the list is Sweet Shop. As expected, the cake is a lie. Instead, there are photos of used underwear and stockings, etc. that people are trying to sell. With a notable one being a bloody pair where the owner says they're just trying to get them off their hands. There's no way to tell who's selling them, so that will remain speculation. The next one down is storage, which you'll need a PIN code for, which can be found on the billing email I mentioned earlier. In here are still pictures of a woman with dark hair. The person taking the picture seems to be stalking her, and then there's a picture of a body wrapped in a black garbage bag. There are also some pixelated pictures of legs with blood on them, which when uncensored will give you a clearer view. I think after viewing these pictures, we can assume that Sean has graduated from assault to murder. These photos seem to imply that Sean stalked this woman, kidnapped her, and then tortured her until death. We've yet to get the full picture, but the vial.exe holds more information that will give a clearer idea of just what Sean had going on. The hint for this one is cat previous version. This can be found when viewing the email from the vet, which will have an attachment that lists his cat's previous name. I also want to point out how he seems to care for this cat. He's concerned with her health and well-being, but none of that is afforded to the women in his life. Make of that what you will. Anyway, once we're in, there are a few more images, an email, a text file, and a movie file to view. Most of the images are of the brutality he savaged upon this woman. Again, I wouldn't say these images are graphic, certainly no worse than what you'd see on TV. But as I said before, it's the implication. It's the realistic nature of this crime that makes it so hard to stomach. It's also the use of a real human actress playing the part. That shreds some of the veil of what your brain perceives as imaginary and real. And that gives it so much more of an impact. At least in my case it does. But back to the task at hand. There is also an image of what looks like the inside of a video store. I mean, these kind of look like shelves of tapes, right? I could be wrong, but that's what it looks like to me. The email is the most unhinged part of all of this. I'm not gonna read it because it is vile. I will, however, explain it. This insanity features Sean obsessing over Candy, desperately wanting to know her real name as he says it's the only thing he doesn't know about her. He talks about how his second film is about to have its premiere and how she looks just like Candy. That these women are copies, fakers, imposters, and he's working to get rid of them so Candy can be the star of the show again. And then it ends with, it's not VL, it's not EK, it's not CC. You might not guess this at first without seeing the ending slide of the game, but these letters are initials of his victims or potential victims. VL stands for Valerie Larson, EK stands for Eleanor Carey, and CC possibly Candy Corpse. Like I said, he really wants to know her real name. In fact, his obsession has grown to the point that he has now considered himself an amateur filmmaker, which is where the movie file Vile comes into play. It tells its story through filmed imagery alone, showing much of what we've already gleaned from the still pictures we found. This movie is Sean's artistic representation of how he stalked and kidnapped a woman to eventually perform horrible acts that will, in the end, lead to her death. It's his sadistic nature on display, showing that he craves holding power over another and relishing in their pain to an extremely monstrous extent. Sean is the monster here. Once that video has been viewed, we'll get notified of another email. This one is directly from Casey herself. Hey there, I hope you don't mind. I sent this from my personal email address. The internet to the store shuts off at close, and I'm not working again until Saturday evening, so I didn't want you to have to wait that long. A customer brought in a box of old tapes he was getting rid of, and there was a copy of Rip Her Head Off. The one with the 30 extra minutes too, which is kinda cool. If you'd like to buy it directly from my manager, let me know, or else he is gonna put it up on VNS. Have a good night. Once you exit out of this email, that will signal the end of the game. You'll hear the phone ring as whom I presume to be Sean gives FFVR a call.
Found footage, video, and rentals. How can I help you? Hello? Hello? Ugh. Listen, if it's another prank call, you've got another thing coming, okay? I can hear you breathing. You think because we sell scary movies and paranormal, you can call here at night and the girl at the counter will talk to you until you get off? Fuck you. I'm sick of it. You're disgusting. You're all nasty. You know what you are? You want to fucking hear it? You're vile.
And that was the end of Vile Exhumed. However, that isn't the end of this video just yet. There's a couple things I want to go over to make a little sense of everything we found. Maybe give us a bit of a clearer picture. So while I was trying to figure things out, I tried to sort out a bit of a timeline. It isn't super cohesive because not everything has a date. In fact, most of it doesn't have a date. But I am going to attempt to put things in order. So the earliest date of anything in this game is everything to do with the Molly incident back in '97. Afterwards, Sean moved to New York, at least by '98, as evidenced by messages from Dennis the Menace alluding him to no longer living in his previous residence. '98 is also the year he joined the Candy Corpse fan forum. And unless this is a typo, '98 is also the year RIP Her Head Off was released, which is possible because when you click on it, it says '99, but maybe that's just the re-release date. That's not super important anyway, because there's also the movie Hardcore Gore Horror, say that 3 times in a row real fast, which also released in '98, and the description says that Candy Corpse is rumored to be the girl in it. Why I'm mentioning this is because in an email to the Hot Girls in Your Area spam bot, he said he would like a girl like the one from that movie. I'm pointing all this out because I think this is when Sean discovered Candy Corpse and was the beginning of his obsession with her. This is why he told Dennis that he has girls here. He doesn't think of Molly anymore because he's replaced her with Candy. It's unclear when exactly Candy Corpse stopped making more videos. We know her last one was We're All Gonna Die Out Here, but it only lists the year, not the month or anything. But I can say I think Sean started his bullshit at least as early as November, maybe? Trust me, I could be so completely off in terms of dates because I'm mostly going off of what dates I do know for certain, and then using those as markers in the emails to determine which ones happened when. For instance, we know this email had to have been sent either on or close to November 4th, 1999. Because it's the email user 007 promised to send, and that chat has a date on it. So any emails before it, I'm considering to have happened before that chat happened. However, with it being in the trash bin, it's a pretty fallible system since he could have deleted these emails out of order. But let's go with it anyway for the sake of some kind of structure. Lana would be the first woman he messaged about buying videotapes from in person. However, after he got a description of her appearance, that being blonde, she was not his type, thus he ignored her, sparing her life. Moving on to December, Nameless Norm posts his little video on the 8th, and it's taken down by the moderators on the 9th. Sometime around then, Sean emails him and asks to see the video himself because he doesn't believe it would actually be Candy. Valerie went missing sometime in early December. I can't quite make out this date, so I'm not certain when exactly. According to the date on the Vile movie, it was created on the 12th of December, which means I do believe the one in the film is Valerie. The 13th of December is when the users on the Candy website that also used the VNS noticed that Candy was no longer doing her usual Friday buying and swapping on the VNS site. It could have been the sheer amount of hate she was receiving after Nameless Norm's video that was posted that caused her to retreat from the public eye. This could also be when she decided not to make any more videos, but I mean, I don't know. It's all speculation. Sometime after he filmed the Vile movie, he receives the video from Nameless Norm, then immediately replies with his insane response. I think after he made his first kill, he really began to go further and further off the deep end. Eleanor went missing on the 14th. That's a mere 2 days after Vile was filmed, or completed. I don't know, but it was a very short time span to be sure. I think this shows just how quickly Sean was becoming more unhinged, volatile, enraged, insane, unstable. All of the crazy emails he sent was pretty much around this time and kind of backs up the whole unhinged thing. Especially that one to Candy, though I'm not sure if he actually sent it or not considering he doesn't have any contact information for her. And then of course we have the ending where he called Casey Clyde of Found Footage Video Rentals, a woman whom fits his type to a T. A woman who very well may be Candy Corpse herself. I didn't finish my full theory on Casey being Candy because we'd yet to come across all the information, but now that we have access to everything, let me lay it out for you. So as I mentioned before, FFVR is basically owned by Down Under Incorporated, which is the name of Candy Corpse's management team. In the video posted by Nameless Norm, Candy mentions her manager, Andy, is the one who makes the lighting choices. Andy is the name listed as the manager of FFVR on the website itself. Now, here's the new stuff. In this last email we received from Casey, we can see her full name is Casey Clyde, which gives the initials CC. And the kicker? There's an email reply from Down U Talent, or Down Under Talent, that is responding to an email Sean wrote them about wanting to write a magazine article in Candy. This, of course, was just a lie Sean used to fish around for her information. A lie that thankfully did not work out for him. However, the point of mentioning this is the very first line, "Hey pal," and the very last, "Andy, Down Under Adult Talent Management." Pal, Andy, and Down Under Talent are 3 key phrases that are also present in the About Us section of the Found Footage Video and Rentals website. All of this is certainly circumstantial, but it's a lot. I'm pretty sure I'm right on the money with this one. There is, however, one question that I want to raise. Does Andy exist, or is that also Casey? Let me know your theories down in the comments. I haven't done a final thoughts section in a little while, but I think this one calls for it. So, while writing this script, I posed a question to my Discord. Why do you like horror? Every response I received was different. For some, it was the intriguing storylines or nostalgia. For some, it was the thrill of being momentarily terrified and then the ability to laugh about it afterwards. Some people like the psychological aspect. Some people like the gore. This makes sense to me because horror is like an umbrella term. So many different genres of horror exist, and those genres appeal to a wide array of emotions. I think horror as a medium allows us to explore fear in a controlled and safe environment. It allows us the opportunity to actually think and analyze it rather than existing in it. We get to have that adrenaline rush without being in any actual danger. We get to exercise our human curiosity without the danger of what that can bring. And that brings me to why I absolutely love this game. It sounds weird to say considering its content and the actions it alludes to, but that's part of horror. Sometimes the monsters are people. Vile gives us a look at the darker side of humanity. It shows us the vile things people can be capable of. And it does it in a non-exploitative way. It's honest and brutal in its approach without being edgy and over the top. I sing its praises because it did so much with so little. It shows that sincerity, creativity, and passion are what truly make great games. Now, what I've shown in this video is pretty much the meat and potatoes of Vile. However, there is quite a bit of extra content that I didn't show, hidden corners that flesh out the atmosphere and themes it has going on. If you're curious about those, go play it for yourselves, or check out the Let's Plays. I think there are a few currently circling around. And that's gonna be it for Vile Exhumed. Thank you all for watching. If you made it this far, you are the GOAT. I want to thank my Midnight Goat patrons and YouTube members. In Water Ending, Pearl 9907, Yeesha, Michael Hamilton, and Bruno. Y'all are awesome, and I appreciate ya. All my links will be in the description, so if you want to check those out, feel free to do so. Like and subscribe, leaving a comment helps the video out, and I'll see you again on the Midnight Goat.